Lead generation is vital to every business, and sometimes referred leads come when you least expect them. Here are 3 of my favorite referred lead stories. Every successful business owner knows that referred leads can make a major impact in the success of your business. They are easier to work with because they're people that are coming from people that already know, like, and trust you. Therefore, a lot of the work has already been done when the candidate or the lead comes your way. Because I've spent more than 10 years working referred leads only, I have some really fun stories of how just if you're doing what you do every day, talking about what you do to people, referred leads will come your way without really any effort. Before I tell you my fun 3 stories, I want to remind you that I am pushing out so much good content and I want you to see it all. So please don't forget to like and subscribe and push that notification button so that you can receive all of the videos that I'm putting out. Okay, so let's tell my stories. So this first candidate that I called, I happened to misdial the phone number 3 times. So I left my, hey, my name is Kim Daly and I'm a franchise consultant and you had requested some information about my free service and I'd love to meet you. I had left that upbeat, positive, peppy message 3 times, but 3 times I had misdialed the phone number on the lead sheet. So one day I get a call from this guy and he's like, lady, I don't know who you are and I certainly didn't request any franchise information, but your messages are so fun to listen to that I just had to call you back. We had a good laugh and I figured out that I had misdialed the phone number that was actually on the form, but it's so funny because I had misdialed this number 3 times exactly the same way. It was totally fate. I was meant to meet this guy. This guy is a sports agent. He's an attorney, and he was very happy to meet me because his particular clients are always looking for investments outside of their professional sport. It ended up being more than a coincidence that I misdialed that phone number. That attorney and I today are friends. We've found out that we both love Halloween, and every Halloween we're texting each other pictures of our goofy costumes. We text each other here and there throughout the year, and he's gone on to send me not just his professional clients, but also friends of his from his local community. I just love that story because you just never know where you're going to meet somebody who can be a great referred lead source for you. The second story I want to share with you was from a candidate that I was actually working with. So this guy was a lifetime restaurant guy, and if you've been here on the Daily Coach YouTube channel, you might have heard me say a time or two that I'm not really a big fan of helping people get into food-based franchises. That conversation is for another video. But this particular guy, he had owned multiple restaurants, non-franchises, but he was at a place in his life where he understood the challenges of entrepreneurship, and starting another business from scratch was just not something that he wanted to do. So he turned to the idea of franchising, and he found me through one of my live events. So as we were working together and I was challenging his every thought about opening another restaurant, which ironically wasn't that hard because people that are in food know that food-based businesses are really, really hard to run. So he didn't really challenge me that hard. He was pretty excited when I told him that I'm not a huge fan of food-based franchises. Like, let's move on from that. And in the end, he did not buy a food-based franchise. But so he went through his process, and after he said yes to his particular business, he left to go on a trip to Iceland. So he's on vacation in Iceland and he went on a group tour. So he spent like 5 or 6 days in this group tour with the same people. Over the course of those 5 or 6 days, he became friends with this guy. And he was telling this guy about this new franchise he just bought, and he was sharing with this guy like how excited he was to have met Kim Daly and how I had helped him change his life and get out of food, which he hoped he never had to get back into. And he bought the right to build 5 stores in the Washington, D.C. area. So while he's on his vacation in Iceland, bragging all over Kim Daly, this other guy who did not have any desire to own a business says to himself, I think when I get home, I need to meet this Kim Daly chick. So he comes home, he lives in Northern California, and he reaches out to me via LinkedIn, and we connect on the phone, and immediately we connected because the story was just so great that here the other guy was, just bragging on me and how I had helped change his life. And so this guy, who had never even thought about owning a business before, who was a happy W-2 employee, said, I think I want to go through your process. And so he went through the process, and he too went on to become another franchise owner. Isn't that a fun story? The last story I want to share with you today happened when I was on an airplane flying to one of my live events. So I was a little behind in my schedule, and I was on the airplane working on my slideshow, on my PowerPoint. The guy sitting beside me was like, unbeknownst to me, was like looking over my shoulder, reading my slides as I'm putting it together to go host my franchising live event. And eventually he got the courage up to ask me what I did for a living. And so I explained to him that I was a franchise consultant and I was headed out to Dallas to go host some live events and try to drum up some people that wanted to potentially look at franchises. And so we started a conversation, and at the time he was very happily employed, but I guess I made a good impression. After I got off the plane, when I was actually in Dallas that week, I noticed that he had sent me a LinkedIn request. So I linked in with him, sent him a little note, said, hey, great to sit next to you on the plane, like maybe I'll catch you on the way back to Boston. A couple years later, I get a message via LinkedIn from this guy, and he's like, hey Kim, do you remember me? I sat next to you on the plane. You were going to do a live event, and I started asking you about franchising. He's like, well, at the time I was happily employed, but I've now been severed from my company and I'm looking for something to do, and I'd love to talk to you about your services. And today that guy is now a multi-unit owner in the Boston market for one of America's top franchise brands. The point of these stories is that I didn't really go out of my way to do anything to attract these 3 amazing referred leads to me. Building a referred lead network is a mindset more than it is an activity. Back in the day when I first started to think about how am I going to build a referred lead network, it was something that I had to do each day. I had to focus on it. I had to reach out to people that I already knew. I had to be consistent in my activities. But with consistency, I created momentum. Momentum that has sustained me year over year over year. And as I started getting referred leads from people I had already placed into a franchise, my confidence about asking for referred leads grew. And the magical thing about when someone is referred to your service and then they become a paying client, because they were referred to you, they know the value of referring you to someone that they know. And so you'll see that there's this perpetuation of the cycle. Referred leads can really change your life. They certainly changed mine. I would not be the daily coach that I am today, who has been blessed to help so many people without the benefit of my referrals. If you want to have a business that you feel in control of, with people that you enjoy working with, I highly encourage you to figure out how to build your own referred lead network. If you've enjoyed this business coaching video, please like and subscribe so that you can catch my next one.